On our broadcast tonight, Manic Monday, stocks surge as world leaders pledge trillions of dollars to prop up the global financial system. The Dow has its biggest one-day gain ever. Relief at the pump. Gas prices are falling hard following a huge slide in oil. Does this continue, and what does it mean? Firestorm, a wind-driven wildfire spreading fast in the hills above the Los Angeles suburbs. And the Kennedy tapes, JFK as he's never been heard before, as we hear tonight for the first time anywhere, talking about politics, family, health, and what motivated him in his life and work. Plus, John McCain hits the reset button as Barack Obama hones in on the middle class. Nightly News begins now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. It might be a good time for all of us to hang on to something nailed down in the midst of what is a global financial crisis. The stock market took off like a rocket today and went up 936 points. Largest single-day gain in the history of the market. Just last week, Thursday, was the largest single-day loss. This crisis has brought the world together in a way, not necessarily in a good way. Banks around the planet are trying to flush the system with money. It will take a while to get better. Most agree the crisis, the worst in decades, is still at its height. But today, just the emergence of a plan was enough to send the market skyward. Our team's in place on this sweeping economic story. We begin here tonight with NBC's Tom Costello in Washington. Tom, good evening.
Hi, Brian. It appears the administration is about to do a bit of an about-face here. Tomorrow, we expect it will announce it's going to spend $250 billion to take a direct stake in some of this country's most troubled banks. That follows the European lead. All of this sent the stock market soaring today. On Wall Street today, investors finally found a reason to buy. After losing 18% last week, the Dow rallied big time, up 936 points, 11%, as the markets cheered an urgent global effort to pump billions of dollars into the world's banking system and unlock the credit markets, with British Prime Minister Gordon Brown taking the lead.
The most precious asset of all is something that, if lost, can only be restored not by words, but by actions. And that is the asset of trust and confidence.
The British plan spends $65 billion to partially nationalize three of Britain's biggest banks, providing cash in exchange for an ownership stake and guaranteeing loans and debt. Today, as most European countries announced they would follow Britain's lead with their own bank rescue plans, the European stock markets rallied. The London FTSE up 8%, the French CAC 40 up 11%, the German DAX up 11%.
I welcome the bold and specific follow-up actions by European nations to pursue the G7 action plan, and the United States is also acting.
At the Treasury Department, some of the nation's top bankers were briefed on how the $700 billion plan to buy up bad debt is changing. The U.S. now plans to follow the British lead, also buying into troubled U.S. banks and guaranteeing interbank loans and debt.
Basically, the United States is going to match what Europe has done, a very strong system of guarantees inside the banking system to kind of crack this financial panic and stop it from spreading.
The man at Treasury running the bailout plan insists Main Street will still benefit.
We are also committed to helping homeowners stay in their homes and using the taxpayers' money efficiently.
Meanwhile, at Princeton University, colleagues toasted professor and New York Times columnist Paul Krugman for winning the Nobel Prize for Economics for his work on international trade. Krugman today said the British have acted most decisively to save the world's financial system.
The British moved from announcing their program to actually laying out the money in just 5 days. Why can't we do that?
We do expect to hear more from Treasury tomorrow about their plan. Meanwhile, congressional Democrats today said they're going to start working on a $150 billion emergency stimulus package aimed at Main Street. The question is, will they try to pass this between the inauguration and the new year? Between the election of the inauguration, that could set up a fight with the White House. Brian?
Well, it all gives us something to talk about tomorrow. Tom Costello starting us off from Washington tonight. Tom, thanks. And when things get really complicated and serious, among our friends we call on to explain all of it, Michelle Caruso-Cabrera is here with us tonight. All right, Michelle, so what happened today? What did this to the market? And does this mean that was the bottom last week?
Today you saw a lot of relief that Europe and it looks like the United States are now going to inject a lot of capital into banks. Capital is the same idea as when personal finance people tell you, you know what, have 6 months to 1 year worth of savings ready to go in case something goes wrong. We now know there's going to be a lot more capital in the banks for when these loans, we know a lot of them, are going to go wrong. Is this the bottom? Impossible to know. Historically, when you see explosive moves like we've seen, often means a bottom for the stock market, does not mean a bottom for the economy. We think the economy definitely gets worse from here. Some people are talking about 8% unemployment over the next 2 years.
All right, Michelle, thank you for that read of today's situation. And those who've been following this have also noticed oil prices have been plummeting in this crisis. That is finally, while it may not be great for the economy, having an impact at the gas pump, which is great for a lot of us. NBC's Ron Mott is with us from a suburb of Atlanta tonight. Ron, good evening.
Brian, good evening to you. What a difference 2 weeks can make. You can hardly tell that this region was suffering through a crippling gas shortage just 14 days ago, but the fuel is flowing once again and at prices we haven't seen in a good long while. Take a look. $2.79 is what this station is charging for gas today. We believe the lowest price here in Atlanta, and the good news goes well beyond Atlanta. It's all over the country. AAA reporting the average price for a regular gallon of gasoline at $3.20 today. That's off 4 cents from yesterday, off a whopping 53 cents from a month ago. And all of this has a lot of folks asking why. Well, as you mentioned, Brian, oil prices plunged last week along with the rest of the market. The tropics have cooled considerably since Hurricanes Ike and Gustav, and the demand for gasoline has simply tapered, all of that leading to a lot less pain at the pump, Brian.
Can you believe $2.79 a gallon seems like a bargain for gas? Ron Mott in Atlanta tonight. Ron, thanks for that as always. And now we turn to politics, where Barack Obama turned the conversation toward economic help for the middle class as John McCain set a new tone for his campaign. We have two reports, beginning with NBC's Kelly O'Donnell, covering the McCain campaign with 22 days to go.
John McCain rarely talks publicly about the ups and downs of his campaign strategy.
We're 6 points down. The national media has written us off.
With poll numbers down and complaints his negative attacks went too far and haven't worked, today McCain shifted his tone. Joined by Sarah Palin and more than 15,000 in Virginia Beach. Gone were the most fiery attacks at Senator Obama. Instead, McCain repeatedly emphasized one word.
And I choose to fight.
Describing what McCain says both his campaign and the country need. McCain used that word, fight, 18 times.
Have courage and fight. Fight for a new direction for our country. Fight for what's right for America.
At his next stop, Wilmington, North Carolina, McCain said he would take voters' questions.
Then I'd like to open it up for some questions or comments that you might have.
But he shook voters' hands and did not take questions. No explanations given. But after last week, when voters asked McCain some uncomfortable questions about Obama's background, advisors say McCain may have decided to end today's event on supporters' applause instead of their comments. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, Wilmington, North Carolina.
Hey, guys. I'm Lee Cowan in Toledo, Ohio, where Barack Obama spent the weekend canvassing neighborhoods where there were almost as many foreclosure signs as campaign signs.
This house here is foreclosed. We have two of them right behind us.
So today his advisors figured it was a pretty fitting place to unveil Obama's revised economic plan.
We need to give people the breathing room to get back on their feet.
Obama's solution? To ban foreclosures on people for 90 days if they're making a good faith effort to pay off their mortgages. And he'd offer penalty-free access to retirement accounts, similar to John McCain's idea.
I propose that we allow every family to withdraw up to 15% from their IRA or 401k, up to a maximum of $10,000 without fine or penalty through 2009.
His plan would also allow the Fed to offer short-term loans directly to cash-strapped state and municipal governments. And it would give a $3,000 tax credit to any company creating full-time jobs. But all of it comes with a warning, the cost. An estimated $60 billion over the course of the next 2 years, and that's on top of $115 billion of emergency relief Obama proposed in August. With the clock ticking, he said he hoped most of the proposals could go into effect before January, no matter who takes office then. Lee Cowan, NBC News, Toledo.
When our broadcast for this Monday night continues, President Kennedy, as you've never heard him before, remarkable conversation being played here on the air tonight for the first time anywhere. And later, our team crossing the country for an on-the-ground look at the economy at ground level.
Women are learning that as we get older, it gets harder to build bone density with calcium and vitamin D alone. It's time to do more. And now we can. Introducing Citracal Plus Bone Density Builder, the first and only calcium supplement with genistein, an ingredient found naturally in soy that's proven to significantly build bone density, up to 5%. Switch to new Citracal Plus Bone Density Builder. It's made to do more.
Do you own an oil company? Well, if you have mutual funds or a pension or other investments, chances are you do. Learn more. Visit energytomorrow.org.
Headaches know the instant your body is stressed, tired, and running on empty. Tylenol Rapid Release Gels work with your body to silence headache pain fast by releasing medicine fast, without irritating your stomach the way that aspirin or even ibuprofen can. Because the less you stress, the better you feel.
At the Scrubbing Bubbles Toilet Division, scrubologists discovered the only thing worse than a dirty toilet is a dirty clip-off. Introducing Scrubbing Bubbles Toilet Cleaning Gel. Just stamp it in your bowl. It cleans and freshens for a whole week and dissolves away. So you never have to again. New Scrubbing Bubbles Toilet Cleaning Gel, the freshest way to keep a toilet clean. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Where do Americans get 2/3 of the oil and natural gas we rely on? North America. Surprise? Learn more. Visit energytomorrow.org.
We are back here tonight with the voice of former President John F. Kennedy. The audio tape of an extraordinary conversation just discovered that everyone, including members of the Kennedy family, will be hearing tonight along with us for the first time. Before we hear it, we should set the scene. It's a dinner party, January 5th, 1960, at the Kennedy home in Georgetown in Washington. The guests are Ben Bradley, then of Newsweek magazine, and his then-wife, Tony, and a journalist named James M. Cannon. After the meal, Mr. Cannon sets up a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and both men casually begin asking the young senator about life and health and politics. To help us set the scene further, our NBC News presidential historian and author, Michael Beschloss. Where does this put us in time?
Well, just at the eve of Kennedy's running for office. And the thing that really knocked me out, Brian, is that in public at the time, Kennedy was saying, I expect to win. You saw this very self-assured young senator. What we're about to hear is a guy who is very uncertain. He thinks he might lose, and he's even thinking about what he might do with his life if he has to get out of politics.
A young man who admits on this tape his dad never thought he would amount to much, and he would have been a writer with Fortune magazine if he hadn't gone into politics. So listen carefully now. The Kennedys have just returned from 2 weeks on vacation in Jamaica. In the background, perhaps, you'll hear a crackling fire, the sound of ice clinking in cocktail glasses. Even at one point, you can hear Kennedy's cigar cutter as the after-dinner conversation gets underway.
Your cigar? Cheers. Cannot exaggerate the egoism of children, can you? No. If I talk about Caroline, it's just really delightful.
But listen, I'm just delighted to see Caroline and you. I was worried a year ago.
Well, I must say this vacation is a hell of a difference. I never saw that kid. You know, I was away all the time. You know, like last year and this summer, we're down here.
Did you take a Jamaica?
Yeah. That made a hell of a difference. I'm not a political type. My grandfather was a natural political type. I think I personally am the antithesis of the politician as I saw my grandfather, who was the politician. He was ideal. What he loved to do is what politicians are expected to do.
Don't you?
No, I don't. I don't enjoy. I'd rather read a book in a plane than talk to the fellow next to me.
I think that's a 19th century politician, don't you? Like your grandfather,
you're a 20th century.
Obviously, you're well-to-do guy who could live off the fat of the land. Why do you go in for politics? It's stimulating. Life is a struggle, and I mean, you're struggling in a tremendous sort of arena, and it's like playing Yale every Saturday, in a sense. But look, how could it be more interesting in this sort of checkerboard chess struggle of the next 7 months? You look at the call of decisions that have to be made that are really life and death. You might want to go sit in the other room. You know? No. Listen to that. They don't want to. They do. Tony definitely doesn't.
We love it, Jack.
I know Jackie doesn't.
Yes, I do, Jack.
They
It's
don't
so
care.
interesting.
Everybody reaches a natural level. It's possible my natural level of descent. I have to worry because I could be defeated.
But you don't have to worry about your family by being out of a job if you should be.
No, but I wouldn't like to try to pick up my life at 45, 6 or 7 and start after 20 years of being in politics and try to pick up my life then. That would be a source of concern to me. Many politicians probably are lawyers and would start something else. I'm not a lawyer. It would be a problem for me to decide. I don't know what makes some politicians succeed and others fail. It's a combination of time and their own quality and their luck. I mean, the margin's awfully small, I think, between, those who succeed and those who fail. Well, at that time, I weighed about 120 pounds. I think it was a job. Renal deficient. That's why my father thought that I was not equipped for political life.
Did you run for Congress with this green?
Oh, yeah. I was out of brain malaria and renal deficiency.
Mrs. Addison, so what is that damn disease?
Addison's disease, they say, yeah.
Yeah, that's just
Jack Addison asked me if I had Drew Pearson's maker. I said, no. I said, God, the guy who has this disease looks sort of brown and everything. Surprised. That's the son.
John F. Kennedy talking about Addison's disease, Michael, talking about being basically an introvert, fear of losing. For a historian, what a rare thing to hear a casual conversation, someone being honest with good friends at night.
That's right, and can you imagine, Brian, if we had a conversation like this, George Washington on the eve of his presidency or Abraham Lincoln? It's what we historians would just love to hear, what's really on inside that mind, oftentimes very different from what we hear in public.
Is it enough to rewrite some history books in that, some common perceptions now that we know more from this piece of audio tape?
Yeah, because, we look at the Kennedy presidency as almost inevitable. Here you rewind the tape, you go back to the time before he was president, he wasn't even sure that he was going to get elected. He didn't see himself as a grand historical figure. He had some of the same fears and anxieties that all the rest of us do.
Well, thank you for your wise counsel guiding our coverage of this and pointing us to it. We appreciate your role, as always, Michael Beschloss.
My pleasure, Brian.
Tonight, we are posting a larger package of coverage because of interest to this, and more of the tapes you have heard tonight, new material. It'll be posted this evening on the website of our broadcast, nightly.msnbc.com. Again, of course, our thanks to Michael Beschloss. We'll take a break. In a moment, we're back with an update on a serious situation on the West Coast.
Talk about a wake-up call. I had a heart attack at 57. My doctor told me I should have been doing more for my high cholesterol. What was I thinking? But now, I trust my heart to Lipitor.
When diet and exercise are not enough, adding Lipitor may help. Unlike some other cholesterol-lowering medications, Lipitor is FDA approved to reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, and certain kinds of heart surgeries if you have several common risk factors or heart disease. Lipitor has been extensively studied with over 16 years of research. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. This may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect.
I learned the hard way. But you may be able to do something.
Have a heart-to-heart with your doctor about your risk and about Lipitor.
Flu season is coming. At CVS Pharmacy and Minute Clinic, we want to help you stay healthy.
So we're making it simple to get a flu shot. It's quick and easy. You can get a flu shot in one of our pharmacies or Minute Clinic locations.
To find the most convenient location, call 1-888-FLU-SHOT or go to CVS.com.
If you have any questions about flu prevention or treatment, speak to me
Or your local CVS pharmacist. CVS Pharmacy.
for all the ways you care. It's
endless shrimp at Red Lobster. Indulge in endless choices of your favorite shrimp, including new shrimp in a spicy Cajun butter sauce. It's endless shrimp, our best value of the year, now at Red Lobster.
Well, when you come into Fidelity for guidance, you talk about your goals, review your investments, and then you get a strategy.
Right.
And you get account updates to help keep you on track. Or have it all managed for you with Fidelity Portfolio Advisory Service.
Yeah.
And all this comes with Fidelity's 60 years of money management experience. That I should let him talk. He's the one who works here.
Oh, I think you covered it. No, really good job.
Investment guidance from Fidelity. Get started with a complimentary portfolio review.
We had a health concern. Turned out to be nothing, but it got us doing more to protect our health, like taking silver.
Centrum Silver age-adjusted multivitamins have key antioxidants that help support natural cell repair.
Our health protection starts with Centrum Silver.
It is sadly once again the season for wildfires in Southern California, and sadly it's off to a violent start. Fierce Santa Ana winds have ignited 3 separate fires, threatening one of the most densely populated areas on the West Coast. As our own Mark Mullen reports tonight, there have already been deadly consequences.
It's a huge fire line. The wildfire that began in an unpopulated national forest 20 miles north of downtown Los Angeles quickly became an urban crisis, spreading to the edge of the suburbs, driven by intense Santa Ana winds, forcing thousands of residents from their homes in the early morning.
We need to leave. We need to evacuate. We're packing up stuff. We're leaving right now.
Flames jumped fire lines and even an 8-lane freeway. One motorist was killed in a head-on collision, fleeing in thick smoke. Another homeless man and his dog were caught in the flames. The governor has now declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles and Ventura counties.
We're very, very concerned. This fire has the real potential of moving from where it is now all the way down as far as Pacific Coast.
Water-dropping helicopters were hampered when the gusting winds blew the water off target. The fires have scorched more than 8,000 acres, destroyed some businesses, and as many as 40 homes. Burning embers were blown miles away from the original wildfire, starting spot fires in heavily populated residential neighborhoods. Residents left with 20 minutes notice, wheeling luggage and using pillowcases, allowed to take only what they could carry. But not before spraying water on their homes, hoping to better the odds.
Just trying to get in as wet as possible. Maybe it'll help. That's all we can do now.
And Brian, tonight residents in Oceanside, California, near Camp Pendleton are being ordered to evacuate. A new fire is burning at the Marine base and threatening homes. Brian?
Mark, it's hard to believe the new season is already upon us. Mark Mullen in California for us tonight. Thanks. There is health news to report tonight, a recommendation specifically that children need twice as much vitamin D as first thought. The American Academy of Pediatrics has doubled the recommended daily dosage for all kids, whether they're newborns or teenagers, because of growing evidence that those who do not get enough vitamin D are at greater risk for the bone disease rickets. Another break. We're back with more news this Monday night right after this.
And now, the James Beard Foundation Rising Star Chef of the Year, Christopher Lee, on the art of cooking.
Use stock. And when I'm cooking at home, that means use Swanson stock. It keeps the meat juicy and brings out the natural flavors.
So if you want to cook like Chef Christopher Lee, cook with new Swanson stock.
Mom knew I needed calcium from day one. Now I'm the mom, and I know 80% of us don't get enough calcium from food. Our bodies can steal it from our bones. Give yourself some TLC, Tender Loving Caltrate, and give TLC to somebody you love.
You know that song, Time in a Bottle? Well, I got time in a bottle, just by changing my allergy medicine from Claritin to Zyrtec. Zyrtec's a lot faster. It starts working 2 hours faster than Claritin, and it keeps working for 24 hours on all my allergy symptoms, indoors and out. You know, Zyrtec should put that on the label. Ingredients. 2 hours you didn't have before.
Zyrtec, the fastest 24-hour allergy relief, now without a prescription.
As an investor, you want someone to be there for you, and not just when the market's open or if your account is big enough. TD Ameritrade offers 24/7 phone support from licensed staff in 100 branch offices. Ask a question, get help with a retirement plan, someone's always there. With TD Ameritrade, you make your own decisions, but you're never really alone. Independence is the spirit that drives America's most successful investors.
The generation that swore it would never get old didn't. Welcome to the summer of life. New Touch of Gray from Just for Men. Lets you keep a little gray. Works gradually. Easy. New Touch of Gray.
When my doctor told me I had to lower my cholesterol, I was shocked. I worried about the foods I'd have to eat. But you do what you have to.
My wife insists I eat whole grain oats to help lower my cholesterol. I made the commitment for her.
I was told eating certain foods can help lower my cholesterol. I guess it's a sacrifice I have to make.
Honey Nut Cheerio cereal tastes great and can help lower cholesterol.
No one said it would be easy. Be happy, be healthy.
This is a KGW News Channel 8 update.
Next, a tour inside one of the West Hills homes battered by a landslide. How the city's putting pressure on homeowners now. Plus, hope for hearing loss, the breakthrough at OHSU.
Cloudy skies move back into the forecast, so how far away is the rain? I've got those details coming up right after NBC Nightly News.
Finally here tonight, a first-hand look at Americans struggling in this financial crisis. We asked...
NASDAQ jumped 195 points, or almost 12%.
And that's Nightly Business Report for Monday, October 13th. I'm Susie Garrow. Good night, everyone. Good night to you, Paul.
Good night, Susie. I'm Paul Kangas, wishing all of you the best of goodbye.
Nightly Business Report is made possible by
Franklin Templeton Investments. Our unique perspective helps us see domestic and international markets in a different light. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
And by ExxonMobil. This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you. More information about investing is available in the NBR Guide to Buying Bonds. To order this DVD, call 1-800-PLAY-PBS or visit online at shoppbs.org.
Trusted, in-depth, independent. This is PBS.
Key Bank, dedicated to helping people consider the financial decisions they make in their personal and professional lives. Committed to being a financial resource. More information at key.com.
I'm Gwen Eiffel. On October 15th, Barack Obama and John McCain will meet for their third and final debate at Hofstra University in New York. Bob Schieffer moderates. Tune in for full coverage, including the analysis of Mark Shields and David Brooks, here on PBS.
Wednesday night at 9 on OPB.
This week on Oregon Art Beat, after years of doing large metal sculptures, Marie Moretzka decided to scale things down a bit and make them much more colorful. Molly Atkins is a bluegrass musician who writes songs, records, and performs at festivals, and she's still in high school. And Portland Sacred Harp offers their heartfelt and exuberant takes on traditional shape note singing.
Join us Thursday at 8 p.m.
OPB business partner Conkling, Fiscum & McCormick has made a contribution to OPB. Thank you.
I'm Jim Lara. On the next news hour, the latest on the financial crisis and day one of our big picture reports from New Mexico on the presidential race. That's Monday on the news hour.
Turn your car into a great idea. When you donate your used vehicle to OPV, we'll turn the proceeds into ideas that engage, inform, and entertain. Thanks for your support.
Pneumonia is killing off wild bighorn sheep, and while biologists struggle to save them, a new battle heats up between Oregon and Idaho over how to use public lands. Then we take you to a beautiful secret garden on Oregon's Central Coast. After nearly half a century, there's a good chance the public may finally be able to go there. And we visit Bagby Hot Springs to see all the work going on to clean it up and protect the visitors.
Stein Oil Company, fueling for businesses in Clackamas, Oregon City, Milwaukee, and Tualatin. New Space Entertainment, presenting Hal Holbrook in Mark Twain Tonight, October 17th and 18th, part of the Wells Fargo Broadway in Eugene